99.1, 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7:20 p.m. and a rebroadcast of the next day at 11 a.m. just in case you missed that program.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good evening. Welcome to this evening's newscast on Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith. And now for the news in detail. Even as it continues to hide from public scrutiny, evidence of the billions of dollars it claims to have expended in the last 5 years on Guyanese hires and support services, the president of ExxonMobil Guyana, Alistair Routledge, continues to sell the message that American oil giant and its prime contractors have been making significant efforts to bolster local content. In fact, Routledge said these efforts at local content occur since it just makes good business sense to do so. He further noted that all of the major international companies contracted by ExxonMobil Guyana have a presence in country and have been steadily moving activities from Trinidad and Tobago and other locations around the globe to Guyana. It is crucial to note, however, that for almost 6 years, ExxonMobil has ignored calls to provide a disaggregation of the money it claims was spent on an annual basis for training Guyanese, procuring goods and services here, and ensuring technology transfer occurs. Meanwhile, some 31 months after the passage of Guyana's Natural Resource Fund Act and its subsequent assent by then-President David Granger in January of 2019, the only thing active about the fund, commonly referred to as the Sovereign Wealth Fund, is that it continues to generate controversy. At least this is according to eminent chartered accountant and attorney at law Christopher Ram, who contends the Natural Resource Fund Act is not in operation. Qualifying his arguments, Ram noted that more than a year after the PPPC regained power in August 2nd of 2020, and more than 2 years after its assent by then-President Granger, the Natural Resource Fund Act is not in operation since no commencement order has been issued to bring it into force. To this end, Ram contends there is therefore no effective or legal requirement that the oil money or any part of it should go into the account being held in the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. And in other news, as CARICOM member states race towards their respective renewable energy targets, two organizations in the region have forged a partnership to help advance and accelerate the Caribbean's sustainable energy transition. According to reports, the Caribbean Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, a specialized energy agency of CARICOM, and the Caribbean Climate Smart Accelerator, a non-governmental organization, have teamed up signing a cooperation agreement to accelerate regional and national mandates for the adoption of renewable energy and energy-efficient technologies. In a public missive announcing the partnership, it was noted that the alliance was formed amid continued fuel price volatility and during the unpredictable hurricane season coupled with an unprecedented global pandemic. And moving on, the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering Financing of Terrorism Act and the Cybercrime Act are among the set of laws that are to be reviewed and amended. This is according to Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal. The AG stated that he believes that some of Guyana's laws have to be reviewed because he thinks that they are repulsive. Moreover, the AG pointed out that while there are aspects of the Cybercrime Act that must be amended, he noted that the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering Financing of Terrorism Act has a lot of e-moderation clauses that need to be amended. One such part, he noted, is the clause where the authorities can go into someone's bank account. In other news, a man who had failed to return after leaving his home on Tuesday to go on an afternoon lime with his friends was found dead the following morning with chop wounds to his body. The dead man has been identified as 33-year-old Pradesh Ramgobin, also known as Avinash, of Hope Estate, East Coast Demerara. Police have since arrested a suspect who was the one that reportedly notified Ramgobin's worried mother that her son was killed. According to police, Ramgobin would normally go out with his friends to consume alcohol, and on Tuesday around 17 hours he left to do this. His relatives waited for his return, but he never showed up that evening. In other news, 2 suspected motorbike bandits on Wednesday aborted their plans to rob his sensei, 71-year-old Frank Wunatai, after they reportedly saw his karate uniform. Master Wunatai said that he had just stepped out of his residence and was waiting on a taxi to take him to his dojo. He recalled that the men pulled up on him around 17 hours while he was taking shade behind a tree from the afternoon sun. The pillion rider reportedly came off the bike and began walking towards Wunatai, but when he saw the karate expert suited up in his uniform, he settled for a "Hi, uncle," and then turned back. Wunatai related that the suspected bandit rejoined the motorcycle and sped off with his accomplice. The sensei believes that the man wanted to rob him of his laptop.
And that's the news of the moment. Remember to get the full details of these stories, pick up a copy of the Kaieteur News. And don't forget, you can catch us on the MyTuner app as well as the Radio Garden app. You can also keep up to date by liking our Facebook page at Kaieteur Radio and subscribing to our YouTube channel, Kaieteur Radio Livestream. Oh, also catch our stream at www.kaieteurnewsonline.com/radio.
I am Glenn Lal, and I have some beautiful things to share with you guys. Friends, people asking, Glenn Lal, what is this $960 million pre-contract cost Guyana is now auditing? Let me explain what's a pre-contract cost so you guys can get a full understanding of what it is. A pre-contract cost is when a man comes to you and says, Joe, you have a piece of land there, and I believe you have gold inside. You don't have to spend any money. I have the tools, I have the equipment, I have the machinery, and I have the expertise. Allow me to go on the land and see if I find. If I don't find, he pack up his bag and gone. But if I find, say, listen, man, can we work out something so you can give me back the cost that I spend there to find this gold? And you agree. You say, okay, no problem. But of course, if you know that you have to repay something, you must have a say as to what he's spending and how he's spending and what he's spending on. Well, it's the same thing in the oil industry. Guyana agreed that if Exxon doesn't find anything, they walk away. And you don't owe them anything. But if they do find, well then, the little money they spend, or them said they spend, we will reimburse them through the profits as they bring up oil. Guyana agreed to that. But what Guyana didn't do with this $960 million that them said they spend and thrown us, is that Guyana did not monitor. Guyana didn't know. Guyana is now checking on that $960 million that was handed to us. Now tell me, which moron runs a business like that? Nobody does business like that. Of course, you have to have a say. You must know. You must know every single day what these people is doing and what they're spending, because you already agreed to pay back what they spend. Suriname today. Suriname is very clear. Suriname says any pre-contract cost, you will bear that yourself if you find gold. I want to know when you find gold, let us talk business. What is there for you and what is there for me. And guess what, Guyana? That pre-contract cost comes with interest behind it. An interest rate that we had no say on. Now, Guyana, you gotta wake up and smell the coffee. If not, you'll be chewing gum for the rest of your life. Join me on the Glenn Lal Show every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 7:20, and there are lots more for me to tell you.
On Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Welcome to the National Outlook. Friday, September 24th. We're getting ready to close out the week. I hope you're staying safe. You're doing the right thing. You've got vaccinated. Get vaccinated, please. Let us be safe. Coming in to record these programs, we just found out that a close friend, some people who live in her house, one tested positive for the virus. Now she's got to go and do tests and all that stuff, and she's vaccinated. So this thing can really hit close to home. And we've got the Delta now and other variants. Let's be careful, all right? Be responsible. Do it for me. Do it for your family. All right. Consumer concerns. Corruption could be eliminated with committed will. That was from last Sunday's paper. Corruption could be eliminated with committed will. There's a lot of things I agree with in this column, and there are a couple of things that I don't. So let's talk about both the positives and the not so positive. Corruption could be eliminated. Eliminated, that's a broad, vast word. Given human nature, I have my doubts about elimination. Certainly reduced extensively, minimized tremendously. Eliminated, then we'll all be living in a sinless state, no temptation. And even I have to confess to that. Or maybe I have to confess to it more than most. All right, there are many dimensions of corruption. That's what the Consumer Concern page said. Traffic in money laundering, traffic in person. Corruption has been often defined as misuse of public power and assets for private gain. Yes, 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 that's the big picture. Day to day, as the article said, you have to pay a bribe for a birth certificate, for this driver's license or whatever. And we all hear the stories and the whispers. And so that's part of the corruption matrix. And we live with it. And it's widespread. And the article said that we live with it nationally and internationally. Nationally, let's talk about that. I know about it. It's there. I agree with that. And it says also, the enormity of the ailment is so all-pervasive that the efforts of private persons and NGOs to deal with it are eventually overwhelmed. That is truth too. That is accurate. I can tell you, for the 3 years I spent at a state agency, let's be specific, at the Gold Board, I mean, it was one pushback after another. It was one pushback after another, and every time I had to draw lines. Every time lines had to be drawn. I have no idea what's going on there now, but the president did promise that he will dismantle onerous rules and regulations, and based on the behavior of some of the beneficiaries, it would appear that he has made good on that promise. And you know what? This is what breeds corruption. When freedom is given to not deliver documents, when people are given the power to do as they want to. So, yes, I know about that. Weaker people have bowed and bent. I think I am pleased to say that I held my own there. But it is not going away. As a matter of fact, I think under this government it has gotten stronger, and quickly, too quickly, with much more ahead of us. Why is the president so lacking in transparency? Why is he, we spoke about that on Monday, why last week we heard that the government is dragging its feet on the EITI, Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, I think that is it. Why is it dragging its feet on renewing membership, identifying people, whatever it has to do. That's how we oversee extractive industries, our natural resources. That's how we are in place to see what's going on so that we can get the maximum benefits and that we, this country, the citizens of Guyana, can reap the rewards that are due to us. Not a small clique. Not when the international people are looking, if they still care, to say, hey, what's going on over there? We're going to have to deal with you folks harshly. So those things I agree with, the Consumer Corner page. But there's one thing that I found a little bit problematic for me. The Guyana Consumers Association are convinced that many of the instances of corruption which occur in the public service, ministerial level, are the result of ignorance of the financial regulations and general orders. I disagree with that, and I disagree with that strongly. We know what is right from wrong. You and I know what is good from bad at a basic level. We don't need to go to law school. You don't need university training for that. We know what smells. We know what stinks. We know what the things that we should not be doing. We don't even need to go to church for that. So, yes, there's always need for more seminars and training and conferences and workshops and all of that. But at the end of the day, it comes deep down. What am I made of? What's the training I've gotten in my house from my village? How is it that I've trained myself to conduct myself in my own business and when I represent other people's business, the state's business? So to say that people are ignorant, I beg to depart, to differ with the consumer concerns, Guyana Consumers Association. I think it knew better, and I think that's a cop-out. And that's all I will say for now. If we all do the right thing, we'll all be better for it. We'll make a tremendous headway into dealing with corruption. Do have a good weekend. I'm GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5 FM. This is the National Outlook.
Show me your motion, tra-la-la-la-la. Don't hide information, tra-la-la-la-la. You claim you're making billions, tra-la-la-la-la. Show me the oil revenue so I could believe it is true. Taxpayers' money, tra-la-la-la-la. Adding more to our economy, tra-la-la-la-la. Where is the wealth and prosperity, tra-la-la-la-la. All my optimism is replaced with skepticism. Production costs and profits, tra-la-la-la-la, are considered basic, tra-la-la-la-la, in any decent business, tra-la-la-la-la. But no transparency to the people of this country. Show me your motion, tra-la-la-la-la. Don't hide information, tra-la-la-la-la. You claim you're making billions, tra-la-la-la-la. Show me the oil revenue so I could believe it is true. Now you're running a pipeline without a proper study. You turn expert declaring gas is clean energy. But what about the cost? We'll be running at a huge loss. Tell our leaders not to do this. How can they be so foolish? It is the nation who will pay for the wrong things done today. Show me your motion, tra-la-la-la-la. Don't hide information, tra-la-la-la-la. You claim you're making billions, tra-la-la-la-la. Show me the oil revenue so I could believe it is true.
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Good evening. The time is now 19 hours 20 in Guyana, and you're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Coming up next, the March 15th, 2021 edition of the Glenn Lal Show. Tell it as it is, coming next Monday, all through the rest of the week and possibly the rest of the year. We will return to our usual schedule for the Glenn Lal Show at 19 hours 20 every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Good night, Guyana. Old people say you plant the garden what you want to grow. You want beautiful flowers, you have to plant beautiful seeds. You want an honest and beautiful life, you elect honest and caring leaders. That's what the old people word means. Them old people also say, you tell the truth, it becomes part of the past. When you tell lies, it becomes part of your future. I love old people. I love to listen to them because their words are full of wisdom. What do you say, Bernard? Old people, beautiful words. Always good to listen to them because they have lived life and they would have had experiences me and you will never be able to understand. I love them. So good night to you all, Guyana. It has been the talk over the weekend how Kaieteur News have to pay the former president, Donald Ramotar, $20 million because one of our judges, Justice Navindra Singh, find that what we said in the newspaper about him on the Kaieteur and Kanji oil blocks, we could not justify or defend. That's fine. I have no problem with that. None whatsoever with the judge's decision. The only thing I'm a bit disappointed about is the amount he awarded to Mr. Ramotar. This amount is the highest ever awarded in Guyana to date on a libel case. Like I said, I will appeal his decision even if I have to beg lawyers or beg for some cash, which I don't believe I have to take this matter to the CCJ, the Caribbean Court of Justice. I will take it there. I have every confidence that I will come out victorious. You know, we ended up with a case at the CCJ some years ago in which Justice Rishi Prasad awarded $4.5 million to a doctor named Walter Ramsahai. We had appealed that matter to the High Court, and the High Court ruled that the $4.5 million Justice Rishi Prasad awarded was not enough and raised it from $4.5 to $15 million. Was 3 judges. One didn't agree with the amount, but the 2 others ruled. That is how we ended up at the CCJ. The lawyer who helped us was a man named Sanjeev Datadin. I have to tell you the story because I never forget it. It was me, the lawyer, and Adam Harris went to Trinidad. When we walked in the courtroom in Port of Spain for that trial, Guyana, and I saw the amount of lawyers representing Dr. Ramsahai